Very good morning to dear students. In this chapter, unit testing, we are going to cover the topics: concept of unit testing, static unit testing, defect prevention, dynamic unit testing, mutation testing, debugging, unit testing in extreme programming, tools for unit testing. These are the topics to be covered in this class. Concept of unit testing, we have to understand what is the difference between static unit testing and dynamic unit testing. In the static unit testing, code is examined over all possible behaviors that might arise during runtime. So at the time of running of the program, code is examined over all possible behaviors. Code of each unit is validated against requirements of the unit by reviewing the code. So code of each unit is validated in the static unit testing. To contrast to that of the dynamic unit testing, a program unit is actually executed and its outcomes are observed. Executed and its outcomes are observed. One observe some representative program behavior and reach conclusion about the quality of the system. Static unit testing is not an alternative to dynamic unit testing. Static and dynamic analysis are complementary in nature. In practice, partial dynamic unit testing is performed concurrently with static unit testing. It is recommended that static unit testing be performed prior to the dynamic unit testing. We already know the difference between static is the fixed and the prior defined, and dynamic is the flexible and whenever the problem or whenever the bug occurs, the consequences of the solution of the testing, that is the dynamic unit testing. So, in detail about the static unit testing. In static unit testing, code is reviewed by applying techniques. Inspection, walkthroughs are the two techniques we are using in the static unit testing. Inspection, it is a step-by-step peer group review of a work product with each step checked against predetermined criteria. So, in the inspection, checking step-by-step peer group review of a work product. Walkthrough, it is a review where the author leads the team through a manual or simulated executed of the product using predefined scenarios. So in walkthroughs, it is review, the author leads the team through a manual or simulated executed of the product. The idea here is to examine source code in detail in a systematic manner. The objective of code review is to review the code and not to evaluate the author of the code. So the code review is to review the code and not to evaluate the author of the code. Code review must be planned and managed in a professional manner. The key to the success of code is to divide and conquer. An examiner inspects small parts of the unit in isolation. We understand unit testing. The unit is in isolated environment. It is checked. Nothing is overlooked. Everything will be examined. The correctness of all examined parts of the module implies the correctness of the whole module. The diagrammatic presentation of static unit testing or code review. By the observing this diagram, we can easily understand steps in the code review process. Steps in code review process. So the criteria, that is the readiness and preparation, examination, change requests, and whenever we require a change, it is change request is generated, rework, validation, exit. Step 1, readiness criteria. Whatever the criteria we consider: completeness, minimal functionality, readability, complexity, requirements and design documents, and roles: moderator, author, presenter, record keeper, reviewers, observer. Step 2, preparation. In the preparation, list of questions, potential change requests, CR denoted by suggested improvement opportunities. And step 3, examination. The author makes a presentation, the presenter reads the code, the record keeper documents the CR, change requests, moderator ensures the review is on track. Step 4, rework. Make the list of all the CRs, make a list of improvements, record the minutes meetings. Other works on the CRs to fix the issue. Validation. CRs are independently validated. Exit. A summary report of the meeting minutes is distributed. So, static unit testing, code review. The following metrics can be collected from a code reviewer. In the lower classes, in the degree, we listen that LOC, lines of code, the number of lines of code reviewed per hour, the number of CRs generated per 1000 lines of code, the number of CRs generated per hour, the total number of hours spent on code review process. Continuation to that of the static unit testing, code review. The code review methodology can be applicable to review other documents. 5 different types of system documents are generated by engineering department: requirement, functional specification, high level design, low level design, code. In additional installation, user and troubleshooting guides are developed by technical documentation group. So whatever the documents listed above, they must be represented in this table: system documents, requirement, functional specification, high level design, low level design, and programming code. In the requirement, high level marketing or product proposal is kept. Functional specification or software engineering response to the marketing proposal. In the high level design, overall system architecture is represented. In the lower level design, detailed specification of the modules within the architecture is specified. In the code or programming, coding of the module is represented. Defect prevention. Defect or bug. How do we prevent the defects? Build instrumentation code into the code. Use standard control to detect possible occurrences of error conditions. So first we have to understand the possible occurrences of error conditions. Ensure that code exists for all return values. We must understand whatever the code exists for all return values. Ensure that the counter data fields and buffer overflow are appropriately handled. Buffer overflow or underflow are appropriately handled. We have to ensure. Provide error messages and help texts from a common source. Validate input data. Use assertions to detect impossible conditions. Leave assertions in the code. Fully document the assertions that appears to be unclear. After every major computation, reverse compute the inputs from the results in the code itself. Include a loop counter within each loop. So the points we have to remember to prevent defects. The second one, unit testing after completion, we have to focus on the dynamic unit testing. First, you have to observe the diagrammatic presentation of the unit under test, test stubs, test drivers, results, and print, and dynamic unit test environment. Dynamic unit test environment. Here we observe that the call acknowledge, and test driver call and pass input parameters, output parameters, results. The environment of a unit is emulated and tested in isolation. The caller unit is known as test driver. Test driver is a software program that invokes the unit under test. It provides input data to unit under test and report the test result. The emulation of the units called by the UUT are called steps. It is a dummy program. The test driver and the stubs are together called scaffolding. The low-level design document provides guidance for selection of input test data. Continuation of the dynamic unit testing. Selection of test data is broadly based on the following techniques: control flow testing, data flow testing, domain testing, functional program testing. Control flow testing. Draw a control flow graph. We will see in the next chapter. From a program unit, select a few control flow testing criteria. Identify a path in the CFZ to satisfy the selection criteria. Derive the path predicate expression from the selection paths. By solving the path predicate expression for a path, one can generate the data. The control flow testing is the next unit. Then we will clearly observe what is control flow graph and how to draw a control flow graph path and how to generate path predicate expressions. Data flow testing. Draw a data flow graph. In the control flow testing, we draw CFZ. In the data flow testing, we are drawing data flow graph DFZ from a program unit and then follow the procedure described in control flow testing. Domain testing. Domain errors are defined and then test data are selected to catch those faults. The functional program testing. Input output domains are defined to compute the input values that will cause the unit to produce expected output values. Next one, mutation testing. Modify a program by introducing a single small change to the code. A modified program is called mutant. A mutant is said to be killed when the execution of test case causes it to fail. The mutant is considered to be dead. A mutant is equivalent to the given program if it always produces the same output as the original program. A mutant is called killable or stubborn if the existing set of test cases is insufficient to kill it. A mutant score for a set of test case is the percentage of non-equivalent mutants killed by the test suite. The test suite is said to be mutation adequate if its mutation score is 100%. Mutation test. In this, we observe the test case 1, test case 2 and test case 3. In the test case 1, 2, 3, output value of the rank is 3. In the test case 2, the value of the rank is 2, and in the test case 3, the value of the rank is 1. We observe, consider the following program. This is a simple program, is a main program. argument C, argument B, and int args or I. Arg is a variable, character variable declaration. R equals to 1, I equals to 2 to 3 do. A to I argument V is greater than is the comparison of A to I. Argument V is the or equals to 1 where it is noted or equals to I. Printf value of the rank is or exit 0. Here mutant 1, mutant 2, mutant 3, mutant 4. Mutant is change line 5 to for I equals to 1 to 3 do. In the mutant mutant is change line 6 to if we change the statements I is greater than A to I of argument V or R equals to I. The third line mutant change line number 6 to if is greater than or equals to previous statement we noted as the greater than. Here we are using A to I, argument V is of I is greater than or equals to A to I, argument V of R equals to I. The fourth one, change line 6 to if A to I, argument V R is greater than A to I, argument V of R, then assign R equals to I. These are the statements. One is a little change, how can it appears and how can it executes. Execute modified programs against the test suite, you will get the results. So mutant 1 and 3 program will pass the test suite, that is the mutant 1 and 3 are not killable. Program will fail test case 2. Mutant 1 program will fail test case 1 and test cases 2. Mutation score is 50 assuming mutant 1 and 3 non-equivalent. 1 and 3 non-equivalent. In the mutation testing, the score is found to be low because we assume mutant 1 and 3 are non-equivalent. We need to show that mutants 1 and 3 are equivalent. Mutants are those are killable. To show that those are killable, we need to add new test cases to kill these two mutants. In the testing, unit testing, then after dynamic testing, previously static unit testing, the mutation testing, the criteria of whatever we are taking is in the mutation testing we are considering whatever the change including or inserting in the program code or changing the code, how it will be affected the program execution. If it makes the program is not working well, we have to then consider that it is the killable. To show that those are killable, we need to add new test cases to kill these two mutants. First, let us analyze mutant 1 in order to derive a killer test. The difference between P and mutant 1 is the starting point. Mutant 1 starts with I equals to 1, whereas P starts with I equals to 2. There is no impact on the result R. Therefore, we conclude that mutant 1 is an equivalent mutant. Second, if we add a fourth test case as follows, test case 4 input 2 to 1. Program P will produce the output, value of the rank is 1, and mutant 3 will produce the output, value of the rank is 2. Thus, the test data kills mutant 3, which gives us a mutant score 100%. Mutation testing continuation. Mutation testing makes two major assumptions. Complete programmer hypothesis. Programmers are generally competent and they do not create random programs. Coupling effects. Complex faults are coupled to simple faults in such a way that a test suite detecting simple faults in a program will detect most of the complex faults. So by the fifth slides, we are closing this class, and from the 16th slide debugging topic we will start in the next class. Thank you. Thank you for patience listening.